Hello everyone and welcome to my channel YNR Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Allie's voice comes through the phone like a ghost Noah never buried. It's soft at first, almost careful, like she's afraid of waking something fragile inside him. The moment he hears her say his name the way she always did, slow, trembling, intimate, his chest tightens. No one else ever said it like that, not even after she left. He almost hangs up, almost lets the past stay buried where it belongs. But then she says, "There are 3 things you never knew, Noah." And the air in the room seems to collapse. Some part of him knows immediately that whatever she's about to say will change the rest of his life. He closes his eyes as memories flood in, uninvited. The dock at dawn, the laughter by the lake, the rain-soaked kiss that tasted like forever. He hates himself for how quickly his heart still recognizes hers. How easily he is undone. Allie pauses, breathing shakily, before telling him the first thing. Her voice cracks as she confesses she never stopped writing to him. Not after the war, not after the silence, not after the years stretched into decades. Every letter he thought went unanswered was answered. Carefully, desperately, obsessively. But her mother intercepted them, burned some, hid others, and fed her lies about his indifference until she believed them. Noah feels something split open inside him. A raw, furious grief tears through him as he remembers the nights he stared at the mailbox, the mornings he woke up hollow, the way he told himself love shouldn't hurt this much if it's real. The regret hits him like a physical blow. He remembers the day he stopped writing, the moment he decided silence was easier than rejection. Allie whispers, "I waited, Noah, for years." And guilt coils around his ribs as he realizes the life he built afterward was built on a lie neither of them chose. Then she tells him the second thing, her voice steadier now, almost resigned. That the night she came back to town years ago, the night he saw her across the street and pretended not to recognize her. She was pregnant, terrified, and alone, carrying a child that might have been his. A child she never knew how to claim because by the time she discovered the truth, he had already pulled away again. Convinced she had chosen a safer life without him. Noah's knees buckle as he sinks into the chair. The room spinning because he remembers that night. He remembers the way she touched her stomach absent-mindedly. Remembers thinking she looked fragile, haunted. He had told himself it was none of his business. Now regret becomes something monstrous, something that howls inside him. He imagines the life that might have been, the child with her eyes, his stubbornness, the mornings filled with laughter instead of longing. Allie tells him the child didn't survive. The loss hollowed her out in ways she never fully healed from. Noah presses the heel of his hand against his mouth to keep from screaming because this grief belongs to him too now, even though he was denied the right to carry it at the time. Then there is silence, heavy and thick. He almost begs her not to say the third thing because he knows it will be the worst, the one that seals the damage permanently. Allie inhales sharply and says, "The third thing is why I'm calling." Her voice trembles again. Thinner now, as if she's standing at the edge of something irreversible. She tells him she is sick. Time is no longer a promise but a dwindling mercy. Memory has already begun slipping through her fingers like water. Noah's heart pounds violently as she confesses that sometimes she forgets his face, sometimes his name, but never the way he made her feel, never the sound of his laugh or the safety of his arms. She says she needed him to know the truth before the rest of it fades. Needed him to understand that he was never abandoned, never unwanted, never replaced. Noah feels the full weight of his regrets crash down on him. The letters he stopped writing, the chances he didn't take, the love he let harden into pride. Tears blur his vision as he realizes that love, real love, doesn't disappear just because time passes or choices are made. It just waits, aching, patient, devastating. Allie tells him she doesn't expect forgiveness or rescue or miracles. Only remembrance. Only for him to carry the truth now that she no longer can. Noah whispers her name again, voice breaking, promising her he will remember everything, that he will hold every version of her inside him. The girl who danced barefoot in the rain, the woman who fought for her own heart, the voice on the phone that reached across a lifetime to shatter him open. When the line finally goes dead, Noah sits alone in the silence, surrounded by the ghosts of all the lives he didn't live. He understands too late that regret isn't just about what you did wrong, but about what you loved enough to lose. Somewhere deep inside him the familiar voice lingers, echoing, refusing to fade. A reminder that some loves never end. They just wait for the truth to finally be spoken. The house feels different after the call, like the walls have taken in Allie's confession and now carry it with them, and Noah stays where he is, not moving long after the phone has gone dead, looking at nothing because everything he thought was real has quietly fallen apart. The regrets she shared have started to grow on their own, spreading into moments he never really thought about before. The time he chose not to speak up, the nights he drank instead of going to see her, the years he told himself that just surviving was the same as living. Now, every choice he made echoes back at him with painful clarity. He realizes the worst part isn't that he lost her, but that he helped her go by believing love could be kept private instead of fought for openly. As the evening comes in through the windows, he finally gets up, moving through the house like he's underwater, touching things that feel like memories from a life that no longer fits. Allie is back in it, not with her body but with the truth, and truth is heavier, sharper, and lasts longer. When night falls, he starts driving without really deciding to, the road remembering him even when he can't remember the last time he felt this alive and broken at the same time. He thinks of the second truth, the child, and the thought breaks him completely. Grief doesn't follow order, and suddenly he's mourning something he never held or named or knew how to miss until now. The regret becomes a quiet, steady pain in his bones. He imagines a different life, one where he never stopped writing, where Allie never doubted him, where a little voice might have called him father. He wonders how many lives a person can grieve before their heart stops. When he reaches the river, he parks and steps out into the cool air, the water showing broken stars. He remembers telling Allie once that rivers show how time can move without forgetting everything, that something can keep flowing and still stay the same. The memory nearly breaks him because now her memory is what's starting to disappear, piece by piece. He's scared of how fragile it all is, how close he came to never knowing the truth at all. He realizes with a sudden, sharp certainty that he can't let this be the end, can't let her voice fade into just a final echo without answering it with action. Regret, if left alone, becomes a quiet kind of violence against oneself, and Noah has lived with enough of that already. So he makes the decision, not dramatic, not brave, just inevitable, that he will go to her wherever she is, no matter how much time is left. Because love doesn't need permission from fear, logic, or history, it just needs honesty. As he drives back home to pack a small bag, his hands are shaking but steady enough. He understands that the third truth Allie gave him wasn't just about loss, but about urgency, about the clear, cruel realization that comes when time stops pretending it's infinite. Somewhere in the night, his phone buzzes with a message from an unknown number that just says, "If you come remembering everything." Noah sits on the edge of the bed, tears finally falling freely, because for the first time in decades, he's not haunted by what might have been, but guided by what still could be, even if it's short, even if it ends in goodbye. Because some endings aren't about closure, but about being together in the truth, even as it slips away. As the morning begins to rise, he closes his bag, takes one last look at the life he built around absence, and steps forward, carrying not just regret now, but determination, knowing that when he hears her voice again, whether in person or memory, he will be ready, not to change the past, but to finally honor it. The journey to her feels longer than the miles suggest, as if the road itself is asking Noah if he's brave enough to arrive changed. Every passing landmark reminds him of the times he chose comfort over truth, safety over being vulnerable. He drives with the radio off because silence is the only thing loud enough to match his thoughts. He practices her name under his breath like a prayer he's afraid to say aloud, wondering how many versions of Allie still exist in her mind, wondering which one will recognize him when he finally stands in front of her. The fear is sharp and humiliating, not the fear of being rejected, but the fear of being forgotten, of being reduced to a vague warmth without a face, a feeling without a story. When he finally reaches the place she is staying, the building looks unremarkable, almost cruelly ordinary. He realizes life rarely marks its most devastating moments with spectacle. His hands tremble as he walks inside, because suddenly regret feels impatient, like something that has waited long enough. When he sees her sitting by the window, thinner than memory but unmistakably Allie, something inside him breaks open quietly. She turns and looks at him with eyes that search before they settle. For a terrible, suspended moment, he doesn't know if she knows him. Then she smiles, not wide, not certain but real, and says his name. The sound of it spoken in the same familiar way collapses the years between them. Noah drops to his knees in front of her without caring how it looks, because love has never cared about dignity. He takes her hands and tells her he remembers everything. Every letter unwritten, every word swallowed, every future abandoned out of fear. Allie listens as if she's anchoring herself to his voice, nodding slowly, sometimes interrupting with fragments. The lake, the rain, your laugh. As if memory is a room flickering in and out of light. Noah realizes then that this is what devotion looks like when stripped of romance and fantasy. Repetition, patience, presence. He tells her stories she once told him, gives her back pieces of herself she entrusted to him long ago. When confusion crosses her face, he doesn't correct her harshly but gently, guiding her without shame, because love does not demand accuracy, only sincerity. Hours pass unnoticed as dusk gathers again. At one point, she rests her head against his chest and says softly that she always knew he would come, even when she forgot why. The weight of that faith nearly destroys him, because he understands now that regret is not the opposite of love, but its shadow, proof that something mattered enough to wound you long after it was gone. When night falls and her eyes grow heavy, she asks him not to leave, not because she is afraid of being alone, but because she is afraid of waking up without the feeling she has right now. Noah promises he will stay, knowing that promises mean more when time is short. As he sits beside her listening to her breathe, he understands that the past cannot be repaired, only witnessed. And that perhaps this, being here, holding her truth when she can no longer hold it herself, is the redemption regret has been steering him toward all along. In the quiet he accepts that love does not always arrive in time to save, but sometimes it arrives just in time to say, I see you, I remember you. You were never alone. As sleep takes her, Noah keeps watch, carrying not just the familiar voice now, but the living presence of it, knowing that whatever comes next, loss, silence, goodbye, he has finally chosen love without hesitation. And that choice at last feels like peace.